We're
Okay.
live.
Greg, you want to read the introduction?
Sure. Due to coronavirus emergency and state and federal bans on large meetings or gatherings, and pursuant to Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 2020.1, issued on March 12, 2020, suspending the open meetings law, the August 20th, 2020 Nassau County Planning Commission meeting will be held electronically via Zoom and may be viewed by the public via live stream on Zoom, as described below. The public may send in their comments for the public portion of the meeting via email to the address below. The NCPC will review and consider these public comments prior to making a final decision. A recording of the meeting will be posted on the Nassau County Planning Commission website. Instead of a public meeting open for the public to attend in person, members of the public may listen to or log into the video conference. Access and instructions for Zoom are available on the Nassau County Planning Department webpage. Final decisions will be made on items contained in sections B and C at the August 20th, 2020 NCPC meeting. The Nassau County Planning Commission was accepting public comments for cases listed in section C of the August 13th, 2020 NCPC meeting by email to ncpc@nassaucountiny.gov. The deadline to submit comments was 4 p.m. on Monday, August 17th, 2020. Late comments received after Monday, August 17th at 4 p.m. were not accepted or considered. The NCPC will be making a final decision on the agenda items contained in section C after reviewing and considering the public comments.
Okay. Roll call. Commissioner Warren,
Here.
Commissioner Shaper,
Present.
Commissioner Ellaby. Not here. Commissioner Blue,
Present.
Third Vice Chair Shapiro. He's
Actually, I'm
running late, yeah. First Vice Chair Greenfield.
don't forget me.
Jeff, did I skip over you? I'm sorry, Neil. Third Vice Chair Lewis.
All right, present.
First Vice Chair Greenfield.
Present.
And Chairman Glennon, present. Okay. Who's going to open up with the aspect item?
I am. One second. The Nassau County is
Hey, John,
request.
you gotta let me share my screen.
Oh, sorry.
Disabled. Yeah.
1 second. Okay. This is OSPAC case 9/2014. On the agenda, it is listed as,
Updated
sorry.
recommendation?
All right. Yep, this is Part B, update seeker recommendation for NCPC OSPEC File 9/2014, sale of county-owned property at 460 North Main Street in the Village of Freeport, and Section 50, that is Section 55, Block 348, Lots 65, 74 through 75, and 107. Also 470 Main Street in Roosevelt, Town of Hempstead, Section 55, Block 349, Lots 224 and 226. This came before Nassau County Planning Commission at October 23rd, 2014. The commission approved the sale for the purchase and development of the property subject to the filing of an easement allowing DPW access to the traffic equipment located on the property. Since so much time has passed since the Planning Commission recommendation was made to the Nassau County Legislature, we are requesting an updated seeker recommendation to be made. Nassau County proposes to sell the subject property for future development. The potential future use includes 3 options of mixed income residential development with a variety of potential building configurations and unit sizes ranging from 76 to 155 residential units. Each option contemplates parking as per current zoning or with a small reduction in number of spaces per unit. 2 of the 3 options contemplate ground floor commercial community spaces for rent. Each of the potential options for future use would require local municipal zoning and land use approvals. Online this morning, we have Kevin Walsh from Nassau County uh, Attorney's Office, as well as Real Estate Department.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you very much. I hope you're all well. Also with me from the County Attorney's Office is Errol Williams, who's been working with me on this property for a while. I want to publicly thank him. I was out, as you know, for personal reasons a lot earlier this year, and Errol really kind of ran the ball with this property and got it to a good position that we're now negotiating for a contract of sale for hopefully a redevelopment of a property that's been in the county portfolio for many years. As John mentioned, we were before your commission in 2014 when we were thinking of issuing an RFP. And in a summary, we probably issued RFPs in 2014, 2016, and 2018 with no proposals that really came to fruition. Late last year, issued again because there was interest in the property, and the most recent RFP required a component of mixed income housing with a affordable component if there would be 5 or more units developed to be at least 30% of the gross housing income cost. So I'm open to any questions about the property. As John mentioned, there is a condition in your recommendation from 2014 that we have to make sure we maintain a traffic equipment easement, which we're aware of. I believe it's on the corner. The site to the south is approximately a 1-acre site. It's the former Freeport Health Clinic. It's in disrepair, so we're anxious, obviously, to move on a transaction. It's been vacant for a few years now. It's got roof damage. A developer may want to completely gut renovate it, or it maybe need to be demolished. We don't know. The other site, which is just to the north, is a little over a half an acre, completely vacant piece. And it's interesting because a portion of that site's in the Village of Freeport zoning area, and the 2/3 northern portion is not. It's in the town of Hempstead unincorporated area. So, we're excited to have good proposals, and hopefully a contract that will come to fruition. And we need to update the SECRA because, it's been a number of years, and, we're talking about a different use. So we're open to any questions.
Okay, Commissioners.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kevin, so first of all, is the county currently maintaining the property? It looks like it requires some maintenance, right?
Yes, we do. I mean, we do have people that go in if there was an issue with some cleanup. It's funny, every so often, because it's been sitting vacant, we send DPW over to, whether cut weeds or there was graffiti, the vacant piece. We do our best to maintain it, but, with limited resources, I know DPW, we've had issues with a lot of properties. So, another reason why we want to have it redeveloped, of course.
Yeah, so you're saying, I mean, because part of what jumps out at me is like, well, why didn't we see this one sooner? Why isn't this like a higher priority to get back into some kind of productive use? You don't hear too much about this particular part of the county in terms of some of the planning, visioning projects that are going on, downtown revitalizations. Like this area, I don't think we've seen anything from this particular area come before us. So I was just wondering, is there any other planning going on? Is there an initiative like what they're doing in Baldwin or some of the other places?
I know there was, it's interesting. This property is quite a ways north on North Main Street. I know the village has done a lot of streetscape, and Errol might even be able to speak just a little bit on Main Street, a little closer to obviously they're doing looking a lot at the downtown train area. This is a little further north, but I'm sure whatever develops here will be an important partnership with the village as well.
Well, so on the partnership question, my last question would be, I'm on the Vision Long Island Board of Directors for many years, and they do a big planning thing a couple of times a year. A lot of the different villages and downtowns like Farmingdale are very active with them. But then there's also other groups like the Long Island Housing Partnership, which I'd also served on their board for a while. Are you working with any NGO partners to make sure that the development is done in a way that's really well designed and that kind of thing? Well,
that's going to be something that the selected developer will have to work. the good news is we've had proposals of people experiencing the affordable housing world, realizing there's various structures and credits, things like housing tax credits that could be available, having to obviously work with even the county's Office of Community Development and Housing. There's often programs like home programs, and you're right, and bringing in groups like the Long Island Housing Partnership is very helpful, and the success of a project usually works in partnership with a lot of those entities.
Okay,
And I'm going to just let Errol say a word. Excuse me.
okay.
Good morning, all. The selected developer is very experienced.
Errol, you just got to put your name and address for the record.
I'm sorry. Errol Williams, County Attorney's Office, 1 West Street. The selected developer is very experienced in working with community groups. They've done projects elsewhere successfully. So I think that we can safely say that they will reach out to the community and be very, very receptive to what the community needs.
Who will have
I
overall?
appreciate that. Thank you for putting that on the record.
Commissioner Warren?
Yeah. So I grew up in Roosevelt, and I'm familiar with Main Street, Nassau Road. I am concerned about it just not being like a hodgepodge of just different, developments with no thought given, with, how the community is going to be developed when all this open space, because there is quite a few open lots. So, I mean, I would like to make sure that there is some thought in how this is going to, progress, because, I think that was one of the issues. Roosevelt was a beautiful little town with just little shops and 5 and 10s and supermarkets and everything. But then, as time went on and things got closed down, those little shops just became, another convenience store. And I certainly, would like to know that, what's going to be in that mixed use section of in the housing, what kinds of stores, what kinds of things are going to be done to attract businesses that will be, attractive for the community and necessary for the community to use. So not just
Kevin,
another convenience store.
How much more property does the county own that they're looking to give to the Freeport?
Just to the first concern, I think we were very careful in having discussions with the people who responded to the RFP to ensure that everyone was going to take what the community concerns into consideration. Well, I mean, that I can't stress that enough. As to your second concern about other properties from the county, I will let Kevin speak to that.
We always do look at opportunities, where, a property could obviously have a good potential to help a public purpose, such as the needs for housing and so forth. Not every property certainly lends itself to it. Could be brownfields issues and things like that, although today there's a lot of ways to look at it. And you see, I'm always looking for opportunities. I think the last meeting we found a small property. We were able to work with the Village of Hempstead CDA. We've done projects with the land bank where we've had properties sometimes that are difficult, to maybe find a successful resolution. And, part of the issue with this particular property was we had, as you could see, I had done RFPs over the years for various commercial uses. And frankly, none of the proposals, some of them might have had maybe not the best, reaction from a community support standpoint. And also, I also have a duty to the county to, try to obtain the fair market value, obviously, for property. I have a constitutional obligation. So that doesn't always happen. I was happy to see when we did this last RFP round with housing, we do have proposals that are, going to meet a public purpose for the county and in the range of fair market value. So, I want to reiterate what Errol said. In my experience, even in the meetings I was in early on and discussions with the proposals, made very clear that whoever it is, especially because you are working both within a village, a town, and a county, you will have to work with a local community. And the community lets us know when there's graffiti on the buildings, when the grass is overgrown. I get those phone calls.
So Kevin and Errol, I just want to say, I asked my question. I think it's an important question, and it was helpful to get it on the record. I do understand from a process point of view that mostly your job was to make sure you went through a good process to pick a contractor. And now the next stage is really when the contractor comes in and works with your parameters. And you said there's got to be this affordability component. So now, you know, Commissioner Warren and I would like to see the next stage. You know, we want to see the actual planning. But I understand that from a process point of view, where we're at today, that's still like that part of in front of us. But you're saying for the record that you've got a good team and that they understand how important it is to work with the community, that they're going to engage the community in terms of developing a good plan for what they can do with this property.
As a point of information, I'd like to know who will have the overall authority to monitor the design and development of this property. Is it the village, the town?
I think it's once it goes to the village, the village.
Because of the split jurisdiction, the property falls as Mr. Walsh mentioned. The majority of the property falls within the village of Freeport, but there is a portion that is within the unincorporated portion of the town of Hempstead. So both building jurisdictions apply. So at the time of the developer making an application for development, that application would need to be made to both municipalities. Whether they work out, you know, an intermunicipal agreement, that would be up to them, but both building jurisdictions would apply.
Thank you.
But then wouldn't that, so if it's the town, I guess it's a question of whether there's a requirement for a change of zone or anything, then it would have to come to us for that.
That's correct. If there are any discretionary approvals required, variances, changes of zone, et cetera, you're absolutely correct. Those would come back on referral to the commission. And Commissioner Lewis and Commissioners, just to answer your question regarding the broader planning, in 2010, the village worked with the Regional Plan Association on a North Main Street corridor planning study. The report was called Building a Better Freeport.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it did put forth recommendations for land use and transportation recommendations for the North Main Street corridor. So yeah, I think that report would need to be updated, and the village and the community would need to be re-engaged. But I'll circulate that report. But there has been some comprehensive planning done for this corridor.
Great.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Kevin, who is the developer?
We have not released the name of the developer yet because the contract has not been signed. Similar like we did with, you may recall, the Long Beach Motor Inn, we didn't release the name because we didn't know if the developer was going to go forward for both the protection of our side negotiating, and if it shouldn't go to fruition, we'd be able to negotiate with other proposers who have also proposed similar projects.
Okay.
And let the record reflect, Second Vice Chair Shapiro's joined the meeting. All right, Commissioners, any other comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I'll make a motion to recommend a sale of the property OSPAC file 9-2014.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The action, though, is the updating the seeker recommendation.
Correct.
Correct, yes. So update the CEQA recommendation for file 9-2014 OSPAC file.
Yes, we're in favor of that too.
Okay, so let me just do quickly roll call on this vote. Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaper,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellaby, not here, Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Third Vice Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
First Vice Chair Greenfield,
Yes,
and Commissioner Glennon, yes. Okay, thank you, Kevin, Errol, thank you very much. Good
Thank you
work.
very
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Have a
Yep.
great day.
You too.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Kevin.
Now we gotta take action on the minors. Who's handling this, Greg?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
First up, we have NCPC file 25-2020, located on the easterly side of South First Street in Bethpage on vacant land 100 feet south of Grant Avenue on the Nassau County Tax Map, Section 46, Block 5, Lots 30 to 33. The 8,500 square foot area subject property proposes to subdivide into 2 equal parcels, each with 42.5 feet of frontage by 100 feet for a total of 4,250 square foot area parcel. Town of Oyster Bay Zoning Board of Appeals has approved the requests for variances. And last time, at our last meeting, I know the commission had requested to see if we had handled this particular property in our zoning, and Marty had issued a letter of local determination back on February 13th of 2020. And I believe we have Howard Abertine here.
Morning, Howard. Do we have him here?
500 Hill Boulevard, Syosset.
There you go. Good morning, council.
Good morning.
Anything else you wanted to add?
No, thank you, sir.
Good man.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Could I jump in?
Sure.
So this property is in my hometown of Bethpage, and I was not able to attend last week's meeting, but I did go to our website where it was easy to find the webcast of the meeting, and so I was able to review it. So I saw the presentation on this. You know, each properties that we see come before us have different levels of our familiarity. So this one I just felt was a little more familiar because it's my hometown. I have to say I grew up on 60 by 100 lot, and that's sort of what I think of as the norm for Bethpage. So 40 did kind of jump out at me as kind of small, but I did listen to the presentations by council, and you know, I saw the wider side yards that they're doing to try and not have it seem quite so tight. And I do understand, I mean, this property had like a kind of funny history. It wasn't really being used as residential in the way that you would expect, because it's right in the middle of a residential area, but it was behind this landscaping kind of, if I'm remembering.
That's the way I had the history, Neil.
Yeah. So, you know, and that's relevant because you want to get it back into productive use. And so 2 small houses, I do think makes sense for the property. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay. If no other comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Just if I may, Chair, Greg, were there any comments from the public?
There were no public comments.
Thank you.
So why don't we just do, why don't I just do it as a roll call instead of doing it twice? I need a motion first.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minor subdivision with a negative declaration for NCPC minor subfile 25-2020.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, roll call. Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaper,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellaby still not here, Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Third Vice Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
First Vice Chair Greenfield,
Yes.
Chairman Glennon, yes. Okay, thank you. Next one.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next, we have NCPC file 26-2020, located at 832 to 834 Roosevelt Street in West Hempstead, Section 35, Block 434, lots 41 to 43. The 13,500 square foot area subject property seeks to subdivide into 3 lots. Lot A will have 40 feet of frontage by 112 feet. Lot B will have 40 feet of frontage by 114 feet. Lot C will have 40 feet of frontage by 115 feet. Town of Hempstead Board of Zoning Appeals has approved the request for variances. As we did receive 1 public comment on this particular application, which I will read now. This comes from Tohami Bar at 845 Roosevelt Street. Dear Nassau County Planning Commission, I received a notice of public hearing of date July 24th to ask me about my comments regarding an application for a minor subdivision concerning the property at 832 to 834 Roosevelt Street. Please be informed that I consider the proposed subdivision being deemed as violation for the following. 1, the applicant and landowner wanted to make investment and money against the environmental style of existing homes in Roosevelt Street, West Hempstead. 2, all existing homes in Roosevelt Street have a large open space around the homes and from each side of the home for saving health, privacy, and welfare of occupants. 3, the applicant and landowner increased the intensity land use and caused negative environmental impact. 4, the proposed structure, the new home, in the subdivision area is inserted between two existing homes, existing home on lot B and existing home of neighbor, and looks strange in the street, and has a narrow open space of each side from adjacent existing homes, which may affect on health, privacy, and welfare of occupants. 5, the applicant abused the existing land use of existing home on lot B by this subdivision and planned to create a new crowded structure, the new home, on the land and looks strange compared to the other existing homes in Roosevelt Street. Thank you, Tohami Bar. I believe we have Mike Gregory here.
Mike? Do we got-
Unmute. You have to unmute.
I did, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Oh, I didn't know I was allowed to speak today.
Well, if there's anything, you don't have to add anything if you don't want to.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Name and address, Mike.
I apologize. Michael Gregory of Roosevelt Street Developers LLC, 204 Westbury Avenue, Carl Place, New York, 11514. I don't have anything further to add. All I could say is that it is in standing with the character of the neighborhood. The majority, I believe approximately 70% plus of the radius map is all 40 by 100 lots. I'm actually bigger than that. And, the side yard setbacks are 5 and 10 on all these houses. They have to add up to 15. So of a way, I did 6 and 9 on these particular properties. So I don't have any further to add. I don't feel that I abused my rights.
Yeah, we covered this last time.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Commissioners?
Mr. Gregory, is there anything that is done in terms of landscaping and such to try and
Yes,
blend it into the community character better? Yeah.
yes. Once the projects are approved, I always sod the front of the lawns, and I do extensive landscaping in front of each house. And in addition to that, the town of Hempstead requires that I do get a landscape report from a licensed landscape architect, which I did and submitted to the town of Hempstead. And I actually have to do some tree plantings on each individual property as part of my approval. And on top of that, the building inspector now, and they've been very lax on this, when you get the landscape report from the landscape architect, that actually gets recorded with the town of Hempstead Attorney's Office, and that has to be adhered to. So now the building inspectors and also plan examiners are actually, upon their final inspection, they do have a copy of the landscape report, and they have to verify that all proper plantings and that plan was adhered to, and then they can issue the CO. If you don't put the type of trees that was specified, they will not issue the CO, but I will adhere to that plan that was done by, I believe, Gibney Landscape Design.
Okay, thank you for putting that on the record. I do think, like we're seeing in the pictures right now, that things look a little harsh.
Yeah.
When it comes time to finish it, you're gonna, and maybe there's a little fencing in the front or something.
Yeah, we're gonna do fencing, we're gonna do sod in the front, extensive landscaping, and we seed from the front of the house to the backyard. And we also
the writer has a certain flair to their his way of speaking, and I get it. He feels strongly. He doesn't want. There was a time when Roosevelt did have a lot of large property. He's kind of technically correct about this.
He actually butts a vacant lot.
But we also know that in the world we live in today, if you want to be able to make some houses that are affordable, you're going to have to work with some smaller lots, right? That's your.
Yes. And the gentleman next door, he abuts a vacant lot, and the owner of that vacant lot approached me to sell it to me. And I told him it would never get approved from the town of Hempstead zoning board. And he said, well, why was yours approved? Believe it or not, he sits on an 80 by 100. On the 40 by 100 parcel where his house is, he has a non-conforming house in the back of his house that he rents out. And he wanted to be able to keep those two houses on this tiny little lot. And I said, the town of Hempstead zoning board will never grant this. And I walked away from it. I guess he must have spoke to the neighbor that he approached me, but I turned him away and I walked away from the project. I said, it can't be subdivided, it'll never get approved.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, were there any comments, Greg?
Just that one that I read.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve NCPC file, minor sub file 26, 2020, West Hempstead, and a negative deck.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Let me just find my roll call. I'll have it in front of me. So Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellaby, Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaper,
Yes.
Third Vice Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
First Vice Chair Greenfield,
Jeff.
Yes.
and
Yes.
Chairman Glennon. Yes. Okay. Next item. Is this the last item?
We have two more.
Okay.
This is NCPC file 27-2020, located at 170 Muncie Place in Muncie Park, on the border with Manhasset. Section 3, Block 96, lots 132 and 134, 31,000 square foot area subject property. Seeks to subdivide into two lots. Lot A will have 135 feet of frontage on Muncie Place by 120 feet for a total of 16,000 square foot area parcel. Lot B will have 20 feet of frontage on Muncie Place in the panhandle portion of the lot that leads to the garage, and a rear area that has 80 feet of frontage on Park Avenue by 152 feet for a total of 14,858 square foot area parcel. Incorporated Village of Muncie Park granted final approval of the application for the subdivision on June 12th, 2020. We did not receive any public comments on this, and I know the Planning Commission had asked for a letter from the local fire department. We had not received that at this point. I believe we have Bruce Micketts here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Good morning, Council.
Good morning. Once again,
Council, name and address, Council.
I'm sorry, Bruce W. Miggets, Albany, St. Albans, 1050 Franklin Avenue, Garden City, New York. Once again, I have to correct what Greg said. The house fronts on Park Avenue. It has a garage in the rear with a driveway off of Muncie Place. At the commission's request, I did the very same day, last Thursday, I overnighted and emailed a letter to the Manhasset Lakeville Fire Department. I sent it to the captain of Company 1, which is the company that serves this area. I was informed that it was sent to the attorney for the fire department. I called the attorney.
Who's the attorney, Bruce?
Robert Marici.
Marici?
Yes.
Okay.
Moricci. I think he's fairly new with representing the fire department. I did not get a call back, but I emailed him. We had an email exchange, and he said that they cannot issue any opinion, which I found rather odd.
Did they say why?
I asked why is that? And I got an email back that said, respectfully, it's perhaps a matter for the fire marshal, not the district. I'm sorry, we cannot be of more assistance. It's not a matter for the fire marshal. This is not, I mean, we've been through this before. It's a local fire department that gives this letter. Oddly enough, Mr. Marici is also the attorney, the village attorney for Muncie Park that approved the subdivision. So it's very strange why he won't let the fire department issue an opinion. Maybe they're afraid of liability now these days. I don't know, but I did what I could do.
I'm rather surprised. We've received similar letters from fire chiefs and fire districts and village fire departments. Never once had a village attorney or a fire department attorney object, and it is absolutely not the jurisdiction of the fire marshal. It's the local fire department that knows the response on the site in their community best, not the fire marshal. Fire marshal does investigations, not determinations.
Yes, and this is a fairly regular thing in the village I was involved in. We would get opinions from the fire department. I think he's mistaken.
Well, he may be mistaken, but we're still sitting with the issue of the letter. So what's your opinions, commissioners?
Jeff, do you know the counsel on this?
No, I don't know anybody there.
Bob?
You know, you really can't do, I don't know anybody there, but you really can't ask him to do more than he's done.
Right, we can't force them to issue a letter, and we just got to move forward. It's regretful, and
Well,
with
so I
that
guess,
type of
you know, to what extent can we just review it on our own? I mean, is the turnaround radius question really that unique from one project to another that you need a different fire department to look at it each time? I mean, shouldn't there be a relatively straightforward engineering question about the turn radius and such?
Mr. Lewis, if I may respond to that, this is
Go ahead,
this is not, and this is not a cul-de-sac development where the fire department is concerned about the turnaround radius. I've been through that many times. This house is no different than the house next to it or the houses across the street. They have their driveways behind the houses, but the houses front on Park Avenue. And that is where the fire will be fought from. That is where the fire hydrants are. We discussed that last time.
Yeah, I think you said there was one on either side of the house, correct?
That's correct. On opposite side of the street, either side of the house.
Right.
And it's the same for the houses across the street. They have a 10-foot alleyway behind their houses because the garages are behind the houses. Of course, the houses are on a hill. And the fire will be fought from Park Avenue. That's, no fire truck is going up a 10-foot wide driveway.
I agree with the applicant's attorney. I'm satisfied with the representation today and last time that the fire hydrants on Park Avenue, the SOP in every fire department is the first due engine hits the hydrant and you're hooked to the hydrant. Second due engine hits the second hydrant. It's the way firefighting is done in Muncie Park, Rockville Center, Island Park, any place on Long Island or any place in the nation.
And Jeff, you left out the other part. When you show up on the scene, you hit anything that's in the way.
Well, it showed, by the way, the New York Post showed a picture where they showed up at a Bronx building burning the other day with a BMW in front of the fire hydrant. They knocked out the windows and ran the hose through the car. That's SOP also.
And, you know, well, one thing I'd also point out, although we didn't get the consent from the fire department, we also did not get an objection from the fire department. So I'm comfortable with that.
Counsel,
Good point, Counsel.
Counsel, can you send us a copy of that letter?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion on NCPC file 27 of 2020 for an approval and a neg deck.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, roll call. Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaper.
Abstain.
What was that?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay. Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Third Vice Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
First Vice Chair Greenfield,
Yes.
Chairman Glennon, yes. Okay, next.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, council.
Have a good day.
Last, we have NCPC file 28-2020, located at 3171 Elm Place in Wantagh, section 56, block 209, lot 114. The 19,700 square foot area subject property seeks to subdivide into 2 lots. Lot A will have 72 feet of frontage by 140 feet for a total of 10,000 square foot area parcel. Lot B will have 67 feet of frontage by 140 feet, total of 9,700 square foot area parcel. Town of Hempstead issued a letter of zoning compliance for the proposed subdivision. The subject property is located in the residential A zoning district, and the application is considered as of right. I know we discussed last time that staff at the planning department, we looked into the historical nature of the home. Search of the New York State Cultural Resource Information System yielded that the home was not eligible, and a search of the State and National Register of Historic Places revealed no current historic designation for the home either. We did receive a large number of public comments on this subdivision. A total of 61 emails were received. Since it's not feasible to read all 61, I will summarize the comments now.
If they could be summarized in 1 word, no, never, or 2 words.
No.
Just don't give us the Marty Reader's Digest version.
Okay. So the original home in the neighborhood provides beauty and character. Splitting a single lot and building 2 houses will negatively affect both the aesthetic and the character of the neighborhood. The home is a landmark in the community and the residents consider it historical. With the already limited ingress and egress into the neighborhood, the proposal of 2 new houses will negatively affect traffic conditions and the ability to find a parking spot, as well as present a danger to the large number of children who play in the neighborhood. The location of Maplewood School and Camp nearby already presents parking issues for the large staff and results in parents idling their cars in the neighborhood when attempting to pick up or drop off students and campers. The home, built in 1925, is truly unique in its design.
Greg, do we have anything on the historic front? The preservation?
Yes.
We
Okay.
got the letter. We got a letter.
Yes.
So I want to comment on the letter. Lou Carnevale said a letter.
Well, hold on, Jeff, can we have him put the record in the record first before we comment on it?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, we received a letter from Joan Chemnitzer showing that an application for landmark designation was submitted to the Town of Hempstead Landmark Preservation Commission on the 14th of August at 9:50 a.m. Staff then received an email correspondence from Louis Carnevale from the Town of Hempstead Building Department. Mr. Carnevale indicated that he is requesting an adjournment on the application for a minor subdivision until after the Town of Hempstead Landmark Preservation Commission has a chance to make its determination regarding the application they received for landmark designation. Application was submitted by neighbors on behalf of the property on Friday, August 14th.
Did he say how long that would take?
He did not. He mentioned because of the pandemic, they have not had a chance to meet in person, and they don't have a timeline at this point to meet.
Okay, do we have anyone here to speak on this?
I think Sean might have wanted to say something, and we have Christian Brown too, I believe.
Is Christian here?
Brown is not here.
Okay.
Did he have anything that he wanted to add to this or no?
He told me he objects, but
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, after Sean, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner, you can please ask your question if you wouldn't mind, and I can sort of recap the staff's recommendation after the commission has.
Commissioner Greenfield, would you mind if I jump in real quick? I'll throw a quick. I just have to say, I think that the community character argument does seem to have some merit. It's a pretty imposing presence, and it does have unique character to it. And I can imagine that as a corner property driving through that neighborhood, it's kind of a big deal to lose this 100-year-old piece of property. So I just want to say, I do find the argument.
Commissioner, you know how many 100-year-old houses there are on Long Island in Nassau County?
Well, I think there's a different point here, and that is that, you know, we always look and we say to the town of Hempstead, we want your opinion on something, and half the time we don't get it and we have to ask again. But here we've gotten an opinion from Lou Carnival that said they'd like us to adjourn this until the Landmarks Preservation Commission has looked at it. And I think that if we don't follow suit and do that, then whenever we ask them to do something, they're just going to say, we don't have to do this. What's the sense? You're not going to listen to us. So I think in that matter, I think it needs to be adjourned until they make a decision.
I agree.
I agree, Lenny. You know, it's a simple request. They're going to make a determination. We should wait until we hear if
Jeff, you were the only one that asked to speak, and everyone's speaking ahead of you, Jeff.
I'm patiently waiting my turn, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
That's because if we don't speak before him, we'll never get a chance.
Yeah, good point. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, as long as I'm not muted. Anyhow, I have no problem with adjourning it. My question is one of Council O'Brien, a technical question. How can a neighbor who doesn't have an equity ownership interest in a house apply for status as a historical building? Doesn't the applicant have to be the owner of the property? This seems a little absurd to me. That
But I don't necessarily, I don't know if that's right, Commissioner Greenfield, because what about the property, that little ice cream shop in East Williston where there was community, you know?
Well, that's not the subject of the
But
hearing.
they don't have an ownership right in that either.
But that's a tenant. That's a little different. I don't want to go into that. I just want to ask Bob his opinion on that issue.
You know what? Very simple. I don't know the answer. I assume the town of Hempstead will field calls from interested constituents and respond accordingly.
So, Commissioner Greenfield, I can try to answer that. The code, the town code on landmark designation allows anyone to nominate or propose. It doesn't have to be the property owner. I did speak with Mr. Carnival earlier this week, and he did inform me that the town code used to restrict the nomination to the property owner. That had been expanded to basically anyone a few years back. So the current code on the books now does allow for anyone essentially.
Sean, how long are we looking to adjourn this? I mean, are we going to do it without date, or are we just going to put it over to the next meeting?
So our recommendation is that this be adjourned to the next meeting to allow for staff to update the seeker documentation in light of the historic preservation nomination information. So I think at a minimum we need that the next couple of weeks to update that material and recirculate that to the commission.
Okay.
So
that would be our recommendation.
So just
by the way, before we vote, I just brought up the town code regarding landmark status, and it specifically says any person with or without the written consent of the owner may request a designation of a landmark site by submitting an application to the commission on its form. So it's any person, Vice Chair Greenfield.
All right, thank you for that clarification. I'm prepared to vote to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call, Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaper,
Yes.
Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Third Vice Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Shapiro,
Yes.
First Vice Chair Greenfield,
Yes.
Chairman Glennon, yes. Okay. Last item.
That's it.
The disclaimer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Craig's going to handle it.
Okay.
Due to the coronavirus emergency and state and federal bans on large meetings of gatherings and pursuant to Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 2020.1, issued on March 12, 2020, suspending the open meetings law, the August 20th Nassau County Planning Commission meeting will be held electronically via Zoom and may be viewed by the public via live stream on Zoom. The public may send in their comments for the public portion of the meeting via email to the address below. The NCPC will review and consider these public comments prior to making a final decision. A recording of the meeting will be posted on the Nassau County Planning Commission website. Instead of a public meeting open for the public to attend in person, members of the public may listen to or log into the video conference. Access and instructions for Zoom are available on the Nassau County Planning Department webpage. Final decisions will be made on items contained in sections B and C at the August 20th NCPC meeting. The Nassau County Planning Commission was accepting public comments for cases listed in section C of the August 13th NCPC meeting by email to ncpc@nassaucountiny.gov. The deadline to submit comments was 4 p.m. on Monday, August 17th. Late comments received after Monday, August 17th at 4 p.m. were not accepted or considered. The NCPC will be making a final decision on the agenda items contained in section C after reviewing and considering the public comments.
Okay, before we adjourn, I see council on the last item has appeared. Christian, did you want to say anything? Got on mute. There you go.
Thank you, Chairman Christian Brown, 333 Old Overton Boulevard, Suite 601, Uniondale. I had seen some correspondence. I responded to council and to staff just to state that, I hope the commission will take action on the case under the usual circumstances. If there's a landmark, action brought, that would be pursuant to the town code, and the town code provides for suspension of the issuance of building permits and so forth if the Landmarks Commission in the town chooses to take up the matter. So I would ask that the commission defer that back to the town. And again, if the town Landmarks Commission decides to take the matter up and review it, there are provisions that pause the process through the landmark power of the town.
So council, since you got on late, what we're going to do is allow staff the opportunity to talk to the town, and we'll revisit it at the next meeting. Hopefully get it.
And
no
also,
problem.
Christian, we're going to update the CEQA to reflect the application. And you should have a copy of a letter from Lou Carnival asking us to adjourn the meeting pending the review by the town's landmark commission, which hasn't met because of the pandemic. You may want to talk to Mr. Carnival about convening a meeting before our next meeting.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll do that. The landmark commission in the town, as you may know, meets rather sporadically in the best of times. So I don't know whether they'll be able to meet before your next meeting, but I'll talk with the town about what they foresee happening.
So, council, I just want to mention, I did mention on the record that just on the face of it, I do think the community character impact argument has merit here. So I would, I just put that out there. I mean, the age, the presence, the location, just the overall, sort of architectural feel. If there's merit to the community character argument at any time, this one seems like one where it does seem to merit consideration that there would be a negative impact on community character to allow that subdivision. So I just want to put that out there for you.
Okay, well, I guess we'll you're going to put this over. I'll see what the town decides to do. But if landmarking is the issue, again, I would, that's a town issue, and the town does have, you know, provisions for dealing with suspending demo permits and so forth while the matter is under review. There's a 120-day pause required under the town code if the Landmarks Commission takes up the matter.
Right, but Christian, you got to remember one thing. Jeff, hold on. The town has asked us to adjourn it at this point, and we really have to listen to what the town's saying and give them a shot at it. And we'll make that determination at the next meeting.
I understand. I understand you're going to adjourn it, and I have no problem with that. I will, like I said, I'll see if I can figure out what's going on in the town end in the meantime, and then I guess we'll see what happens at the next meeting.
Okay.
We already voted to adjourn it, Chris.
Okay.
And they can recommend to the town they do something revolutionary and have a Zoom meeting.
I won't make any more comments about the
All right.
proceedings. Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, everyone. So we are adjourned until, when's our next meeting? Craig?
September 10th.
September 10th.
All right. Everyone enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you after Labor Day.
Okay.
Thank you, you too. Everybody have a good rest of the summer.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And
Bye-bye.
Chris, you
Take care, everybody.
sent the record 61 emails.
61 emails.
Yep.